The pencil brushes have included 54 brushes, 3 color palettes and 2 texture papers. All the brushes are divided into different groups, starting by the pencils that they're just single liners, I'll show you in a minute. Then we have the coloring brushes that they're very useful to coloring big surfaces, creating the texture of the pencil. Then we have the cross-hatching and hatching brushes that they recreate the effect of that drawing pencil. Some scribbling brushes, also some pencil rubbing that it create the effect when you are like rubbing with your pencil on the paper. Then some pencil textures and some special brushes that I will show you in a second. The difference between the first 8 pencil brushes, it relies in the way of the edges, the opacity, the texture that they create, all of them having a different effect. Also, it's very interesting the pencil tone because it keeps changing the tone when you are using it. The pencil rainbow, depending on the pressure that you apply, it will change the color of the stroke. All the 8 coloring pencils are designed to color a big surface of the illustration, and as you can see now while using them, the difference between them, it varies in the way of the intensity of the brush, the way of the strokes mark the paper, the texture that they have. All the hatching and cross-hatching brushes, they create the effect of shading into the paper, creating this method of shading. The difference between all of them, there's gonna vary between if the strokes are vertical, horizontal, diagonal. You have included 7 scribble brushes and they create the effect of scribbling very quickly that you can use for texture, shading, a lot of different methods. All the pencil rubbing brushes, they create the effect when you are like rubbing your pencil against the paper and you are copying the texture that it is underneath. All the pencil textures, they create the texture of pencils that you can use for shading, backgrounds. The final 8 brushes, they are like special pencil brushes that they create different effects or patterns when you're drawing. The 3 color palettes included are Mountains, Holiday and Harmony. You also have included 2 texture papers. So for example, you have here this squirrel illustration, and if I turn on one of the texture papers, for example the pencil one, it looks something like that with a very grainy kind of like paper texture, and that would be the difference with it and without. The soft texture paper, as you can see, it is way softer, it still adds like something different on the other part, but it makes more like a cloudy paper cotton effect. If I put both textures on, you can see the difference between one side and the other. You can create a lot of illustrations using those brushes, from like more like pencil style illustrations to more cartoonish children's ones, or even abstract illustrations. There are a lot of possibilities. I hope you enjoy the brushes and please tag us if you use them.